I always wanted to like try to figure out, well, what would Jimmy Page play here,
Yes.
or like what would Stevie Ray play in the vein of him, but like not copying. And you can first learning it,
Yes.
trying to get it as close as you can, and then doing the takeaways.
Well, and again, let me do one more thing where I listen to somebody do something,
Yeah.
and then I thought, wow, that's really cool. Let me make sure. Hey, that's not bad.
Not bad at all. It was pretty quick.
So, say Stevie Ray Vaughan is kind of like I love the overbending and everything. And then he'd go. So I'm like, wow, he's taking the flat 5 pentatonic of B and inserting it into E.
Yeah.
Right? So you're. So I'm like, so what can I do with that? Which is something that Phil X would do, because I go. But if I go. So I'm going back and forth from the B with the flat 5 to the E with the flat 5, and people are like, wow, how'd you think of that? Well, I got a little from Stevie Ray Vaughan.
Yeah. And when you showed me the little example of what he plays where it does that,
Yeah.
I didn't know what that was.
Right.
I just knew that I associated that lick with him.
With him, yes, exactly.
I didn't know like what the technical terminology was.
Well, I don't
right?
know if he knew.
Right.
To him, it just sounded cool.
Yeah.
Right? Did he know that he's in A playing cold shot, and that he does this little, does he know that he's going in
Right.
E for a minute,
Yeah.
for a second, with the flat 5, and then back to A? I think he's just doing something that he thinks sounds good.
Right, yeah.
But my mind is like, okay, why does that make sense, and why is it so cool, and this is why. So I'm gonna do it like this. And I think that's another thing about instincts for me. I hear something like that, and I roll it into something that can be me, and that's how people are like, how did you get that distinctive sound? And man, I'm not afraid to tell you where I got anything. But, and songwriters, some of the best songwriters, they say, hey, good songwriters borrow and great songwriters steal. Well, stealing licks is the same thing, but I think it's disguising it is even more important than those other two things.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. I think you have to disguise it and make it yours. Like, if the funny thing is about Randy Rhoads just did this to this scale. He went, everybody else is going, and he just went, and all of a sudden, anytime I hear anybody do that, I go, that's Randy Rhoads.
Ah,
Right?
interesting. Yeah.
Like,
that does.
That's
Totally.
he doesn't do. That's what everybody else does. But he turned that major 6 into a minor 6, and it became Randy Rhoads.
The slide playing. We had a little taste of that earlier. Could you give us a little trick on the slide and give us a little tips and tricks on what's going on there?
Well, one of my favorite slide players was Rick Richards, and he always played an open G, which this guitar is not in, but. But he played with a pick, all the while nobody played slide when I was a kid, when we were teenagers. I saw some footage of Lowell George playing like
Lowell
Dixie
George.
Chicken with and he was using a socket, an 11/16 socket. And so he was one of my favorites, and he would use his pick and he would hybrid that finger in there. So, and muting with the heel of your hand.
So you are using both.
Yeah. And the reason I say that is I was not very good at doing it like this, using just the fingers and not the pick.
Yeah.
I learned that later, but initially it was just more comfortable and louder to me.
Yeah.
Because I could get attack with the pick that I wasn't able to get with just that finger.
Are you muting with the other hand as well, or is it just this right
Yeah, a
hand?
little. With my index finger.
And is that, what is that, glass or ceramic?
Ceramic.
Nice, man.
And it's got some weight. I like weight.
Holy smokes. Yeah. And I've seen you hold that in your hand the whole time while you're playing, too.
Derek Trucks, he uses like Dwayne the Corus Eden type clear glass bottle that are much lighter. But he's an alien because he's the greatest slide player that's ever walked the face of the earth. But I always gravitated toward more weight.
Love it.
And the ceramic is really really warm sounding. I normally play open G also.
With the slide,
A couple of songs played standard, and a couple in open E also. But
are you doing the guitar swaps, or are you just tuning on stage?
Guitar swaps.
Okay.
I used to tune on stage when I could only afford one guitar, and people would get so pissed. Like, what are you doing? What are we waiting for?
Right. If you were to give someone like a pointer or a tip, like in that pentatonic scale, just in that first box, like what's a good way just to kind of like get outside of that just a tad bit?
All right. Well, it's the best thing I could ever say is learn the entire fingerboard
and
all the keys. So if you're talking about G, you know.
Yeah.
You know, if you're doing that, be able to understand if you're in the key of G. You know, you're just you can play here.
So now
you have the same phrase in 3 different places, and it gives you a different launching spot.
Yes.
You know, if you start here, you know.
Yeah,
you could throw in a Mixolydian, you could throw in.
That's okay. So that's a good. So you just said something too, because like that's another thing.
I think that's Mixolydian. I don't know. You fact check me or the comments.
There will be a comment that facts check. You know, but that's a great point because it's like that's something that I'll think about too. It's like I could have played it in a few different spots, and then it's like, well, when is it that spot? But you just said the launch pad thing was a great move.
If you're thinking about it in real time, you're too late.
Very nice. Gotcha.
If you're thinking about what you should be playing in that very moment on that very bar, you're too late.
Okay.
You're actually way too late.
Now, the launch pads, in referring to other notes that are connected there and other runs.
Right, so basically, you know, if you want, okay, so let's say you want to start. You want to do like a Albert King start. Okay,
yes.
Well that leaves you. Well, that leaves you right there. Where do you go next? So you finish one phrase, you end up here.
Yes.
Okay, so it's very unnatural to go like a. You're not gonna. That's not a natural next position.
Yeah.
Unless that's your thing.
It's a little frantic.
Unless frantic is your thing.
Yes.
And you have a band called the Frantic Boys.
Peter Frantics.
Yeah. So it's all cool. I mean, if that's your thing.
That's right. That's right.
You know, but the thing is, you have to have a musical vocabulary that goes through all the styles. Mm-hmm. You have to have like if you don't want to just cram a square peg into a round hole all the time.
Yeah.
You know, so you need to have enough, a modal dexterity to like I don't know what I'm doing all the time, but I know when I want it to rub a little bit, and I know when I want it to be sweet. You know.
Yeah.
Like sometimes you can start a blues. So you want it to rub a little bit.
Yeah.
And that's not a traditional way to start a blues.
No, but I love that. That's great.
So, but why not? There's no rules.
No.
You know, are you going to win a Grammy? No. Just ask me.
I mean, that could be a Grammy lick. You never know.
It's not. It's not. I'm used to the loser medallions at this point. It doesn't matter. It's a little Cartier pendant that says your star shines bright, but not bright enough.
We're both in open tuning right now.
Yes.
You had us tuned to open D.
Yes.
I am not someone that plays a lot of open tuning, so I thought maybe we would start with just kind of talking about some of that. Because, you know, even just the chord changes that we played, we had to kind of walk through. I'll be honest, man, the only time that I hear about open tuning is if I'm like, you know, if I was playing like a Zeppelin song or like Kashmir or Rain song or something like that, you know. Maybe if you don't mind, before we switch into electrics, if we could kind of hang here and kind of talk about the open tuning thing.
Of course. I think, well, open tunings, I mean, it's been like used mainly like the blues or like you say, like Jimmy Page or Nick Drake, Johnny Mitchell, a lot of guitar players. Johnny Mitchell, like, she was playing like 80 different tunings, something like that. She was like, just, you know, tuning whatever string she wanted just to make whatever sounds she wanted. But I started playing that just to play slide, you know, when I started like Elmore James, you know, or Peter Green with Fleetwood Mac, you know, that's
right, because you do play a lot of slide guitar as well. Yeah.
And to play slide is like, it's better to start with an open tuning. I mean, it's easier than to play slide on standard tuning, you know. And then it's just like, I think it's a great tool just to, like, compositional tool, you know, and it's just to play at home, you know, and refine yourself with the instrument. But sometimes you get stuck, you know, and bored of playing the same chords all over and over again.
Yes.
So it's a nice thing just to play because it sounds so much. You have an open strings, so you have like a drawn effect, you know, like you were playing. It's just you have like that thing that you're playing like a harmony, but you always have, in this case, like the open D tuning. So it's always going to sound something like this drony effect that I think is really
love
cool.
it. Yes. Love it. Now you were showing me the first three changes here, and I love
that's that major D chord. Just you tune down the 6th string and then the 4th string to an F sharp, 6 to a D, the 2nd string to an A, and the 1st string to a D. And then you have the tuning. And there's these two shapes that you know, when I show someone an open tuning, it's just for you to have fun, not like I don't want to be technical or whatever, you know? Just like,
absolutely.
So these two shapes, you can move it forward, you know? The first one is just like with the 1st and the 2nd finger, you know?
Yeah.
On the 3rd and the 5th string. And you move that shape. That's a different shape. I'm using the ring finger.
I like that, yeah.
You move that.
Love it.
Get back to the 1st shape.
Oh, I see. So we're resolving.
Yes.
Oh, there we go. Okay.
Yeah, another one.
Yeah.
And then you go there. And you don't have to do it in a specific order, so you just have fun there.
I'll play a little, you know, progression. And can you just kind of help us out, like with building a part versus doing a solo kind of thing, right?
Okay.
So we'll do that thing we were doing in the beginning, right? Like just kind of break it down for us. So I was doing that E. Cool. So this is like supporting and building together. I like it because we're kind of playing the same chords, but you're only using choice notes out of those chords.
Yeah, I'm trying to find something kind of, you know, after, you know, just sort of in the transitions, in the holes.
Instead of us both playing the same rhythm.
Right, and counter what you're doing.
Yeah, so now in a melody sense, you know, if it was something to where like maybe now we have to do something that's kind of like a line, Let's try that real quick here. So I'll do the same thing.
Something like that.
Great.
Yeah, start there.
Repeat.
Yeah, repeat. Yeah,
Makes it a part.
and then against.
Just try that real quick, yeah.
Something like that.
I love it. There's two
Yeah.
parts right there in a way.
Yeah.
Well, two sections at least, like a build.
That's maybe where I would start, and then you sort of go
Yeah.
from there, and then maybe someone else. You know, if you're in the studio in a session, what's great about that is having a good starting point, and then collaborating.
Yes.
You know, someone else might say, "Oh yeah, well, you know, I'm hearing, you know, something." You know, they might have it play it up here or try it. I'm hearing something more sparkly.
Love
so,
it. I love the fact that you come up with it so quickly.
Yeah, I don't know if
And-
that's a good part, but it's a part.
I like it. I mean, it's easy to hear the difference between the two guitars, and then like you can easily put vocals over that. I love that kind of thing because it's like, you know, we know the solo can happen. It's like it's just great to hear that because you hear like we could put something together now, and I think that's a really tough one too for all of us that maybe are playing by ourselves. We don't have another player with us. You know, obviously with the magic of recording at home, we can layer parts and kind of hear stuff back. But you know,
Sure, and even just so like you're basically my loop.
right,
You know,
right.
so just if you have a little looper or something and put it in there and this kind of
I just want to kind of show the audience here like what you kind of came up with on the spot here, which was killer, man. So I'm just gonna hold it down on the A here. Yeah.
Any of those little.
Yeah, show me that little. Oh, that's great. And now you had another one that went a little bit on the. So there we're just playing off the open G and then bending this E back into G.
to G, yeah.
That's great, man. Those
Cool.
little tiny inflections are cool. And you definitely have that southern twist on there, which is
No.
killer.
Well, thank you very much.
Is it the water? What's going on? You know.
It's the mud.
It's the mud, right?
That's what they say. By the river.
Man, that's great. That was just great. I love those little, and you know that kind of, that's what kind of pushes it into that realm.
Yeah.
You know, there's like if you play it country wise, you're kind of doing, you know. It's a little different. But when you slow it down and give it the little thing, it's got that little, you know,
Right.
that swing to it. Killer.